Okay, so we're diving into ACP Waterjet today, and wow, you really weren't kidding about the mountain of info here.
It is impressive, right? We've got financials, market analysis, even employee personality tests. It's like we're about to crack open their secret sauce.
No kidding. So, what's the mission here? What are we hoping to learn from all of this?
Well, the big question is, can ACP Waterjet actually 10x their revenue and become a $100 million company?
Yeah.
Because that's their stated goal.
Really? Wow, okay, so they're shooting for the moon here. And what's the current revenue?
Right now, they're sitting at about 5.9 million. So yeah, it's a big jump.
That's quite the leap. So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, one thing that jumps out is the level of detail.
Hmm.
Like they even included an Altman Z-score.
Altman Z-score. That sounds kind of technical.
It is a bit.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a way to measure a company's financial health. It looks at things like debt profitability and liquidity to predict the likelihood of bankruptcy.
So kind of like a financial checkup for a company.
Exactly. And fortunately for ACP Waterjet, theirs looks pretty healthy.
Okay, that's good to know. At least they're not going bankrupt anytime soon. But still, 10xing revenue is no small feat.
Right.
What's their timeline for all of this?
So their one-year target is to hit 10 million in revenue, then 20 million within 3 years. And get this, their 10-year goal is a whopping 125 million.
Whoa, okay, they're not messing around. And this platform review deliverable you mentioned, does that lay out how they plan to achieve all of this?
It does. It outlines their whole strategy for growth, which actually is pretty interesting.
Okay, so spill the tea. What's the game plan?
Well, it's multi-pronged. They're looking at market expansion, service diversification, branching out, and operational efficiency, basically becoming a well-oiled machine.
Sounds ambitious. But we'll get into the specifics of all that in a bit. First, I got to ask about this 10x owner philosophy and these personality assessments we got. This is not your typical company deep dive material.
Yeah, this is definitely unique. It's not every day you get this level of insight into the company owner's personality and mindset.
So what can you tell us about Carlos Fernandez? What makes him tick?
Well, he seems like a guy with big goals, both personally and professionally.
Like what? Give us the juicy details.
Well, for starters, he wants to get fitter, buy a very specific motorcycle, and eventually build his dream house.
So he's got the 10x mentality for life in general.
It seems that way. And that ambition definitely carries over to the business. He talks about wanting geographic freedom, which suggests he sees the company's growth as a means to achieve personal freedom as well.
So he wants to build this massive company while sipping cocktails on a beach somewhere.
Maybe not cocktails on the beach, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
He's looking at the bigger picture here, using the business as a vehicle for personal growth and freedom.
Okay, I can get behind that. But how does he plan to go from a small metal fabrication shop in Massachusetts to this global empire? That's quite the leap.
Right. That's where the strategic analysis comes in. They've got a plan, and it all starts with understanding their growth levers.
Growth levers. Sounds intriguing. Tell me more about that.
Basically, these are the key areas they're focusing on to achieve that massive growth. And we're talking market expansion for one.
So they're not content with just staying in Massachusetts.
Not at all. They're looking to expand their reach and tap into new markets. And then there's their plan to diversify their services. They want to offer more than just waterjet cutting.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Makes sense.
Exactly. And finally, they're putting a huge emphasis on operational efficiency.
Yeah.
We're talking streamlining processes, automating tasks, and just becoming a much leaner and more agile company.
Okay, so we're talking about a company that's not afraid to dream big.
What?
But with big dreams come big challenges, right?
Absolutely. And that's what we'll dig into next. We'll look at the competitive landscape, the potential roadblocks they might face, and whether or not this 10x vision is actually achievable. Stay tuned.
So you're saying they want to go from quote to finished product in just a matter of days. That's ambitious.
Yeah. Perts and days is a pretty bold initiative. But hey, speed is everything these days, right?
Yeah.
Customers want it now, not later.
True. So how does ACP Waterjet plan to make this happen? Like, what's the magic formula?
Well, it's not magic exactly.
Yeah.
But they have outlined some key steps in this PR to SBU handshake document. For one, they're planning to move to a larger facility.
Okay, so more space to work with. That makes sense.
Exactly. It gives them room to grow. Plus, it allows them to invest in more automation, which is another big part of their plan.
Automation. Yeah, I was going to ask about that because you can't really achieve those kinds of turnaround times with just manual labor, right?
Exactly. They're going to need some serious tech to pull this off.
Yeah.
And they know it. They've actually highlighted automation as a key priority in their platform review marketing worksheet.
Smart move. Got to stay ahead of the curve. So more space, More tech. What else is on the efficiency checklist?
Well, it's not all about shiny new toys. They're also laser focused on optimizing their internal processes, streamlining workflows, eliminating bottlenecks, that sort of thing.
Sounds like a lot of work. But hey, efficiency is all about working smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly. And it can pay off big time, not just in terms of faster turnaround times, but also reduce costs, improve quality. It's a win-win all around.
Okay, so they've got the ambition, the plan, the technology, but what about the people? I mean, none of this matters if you don't have the right team in place, right?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting because ACP Waterjet isn't just focused on hiring skilled workers. They're looking for something more. They're looking for 10x employees.
10x employees. Okay, now you're just messing with me. What is a 10x employee? Are we talking about superheroes here?
Not quite,
Huh.
but close. They've actually created these detailed profiles outlining the traits and characteristics of their ideal employees. It's all here in the 10x 360 Platform Review Phased Approach document.
So they're not just looking at resumes and cover letters, they're digging deeper.
Much deeper. They're using personality assessments like you wouldn't believe. It's all about finding people who are not only skilled, but also aligned with their culture and values.
And their core value seems to be this whole 10x philosophy, right? So how do you even begin to build a company culture around that?
Well, it starts at the top with Carlos himself. He seems to be a firm believer in personal and professional development. In fact, he even mentions using Cardone University in one of these questionnaires.
Cardone University, as in Grant Cardone, the sales guru.
The one and only. It's a pretty intense sales training program focused on, you guessed it, 10xing your sales.
Okay, so they're serious about this whole 10x thing. But training is just one piece of the puzzle, right? What about the actual sales process?
That's another area where they see room for improvement. Their sales strategy document actually highlights the need for better sales processes and scripting.
Interesting. Because you'd think a company with such ambitious growth goals would have their sales game down pat.
You'd think so, right? But according to their own internal review, their mystery shopping score is only 60%. So clearly there's room for improvement.
60%. Oof, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, not exactly stellar. But hey, at least they're aware of it.
Right.
That's the first step.
True. Gotta recognize your weaknesses before you can fix them. So what's the plan? How do they get those numbers up?
Well, they're looking at implementing a more structured approach to sales with standardized scripts and better training.
Makes sense. You gotta give your salespeople the tools they need to succeed.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Even though they're focused on upping their sales game, they don't actually have a formal referral program in place.
Wait, really? They're just leaving all that word-of-mouth marketing on the table.
Apparently so,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of surprising. They do have a high percentage of repeat customers.
Yeah, that seems like a missed opportunity. But hey, maybe that's something they're already working on.
Could be, but it's still interesting, right? Like even with these ambitious goals and detailed plans, there are still these gaps.
Yeah, it's like they're so focused on the big picture, they're missing some of the smaller details.
Maybe. But I think it might be more than that. Remember how we talked about Carlos's desire for geographic freedom?
Yeah, the whole sipping cocktails on a beach while his company conquers the world thing.
Right. Well, what if that's not just about him? What if it's a hint at something bigger?
Like, what? You think he's trying to build a company full of digital nomads?
Maybe. Think about it.
Yeah.
If they could pull off this parts and days thing and become the fastest, most efficient metal fabricators out there, that changes everything.
How so?
It's not just about speed, it's about flexibility.
Yeah.
If they can consistently deliver faster than anyone else, they can attract customers from all over the world.
And that ties into the remote work thing, because if your team is spread out globally, you're not limited by geography.
Exactly.
Okay.
They could have the best people working for them no matter where they are.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. It's like they're playing a different game altogether. They're not just trying to be the best in Massachusetts. They're aiming for global domination.
And that, my friend, is the 10X mindset in a nutshell. It's about thinking bigger, bolder, and not being afraid to challenge the status quo.
Okay, so we've talked about their ambitions, their plans, their challenges. But let's cut to the chase here. Do we actually think they can pull this off?
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's a coin toss.
Yeah.
They have a lot going for them. Don't get me wrong. They've got the drive, the vision, the data to back it up.
Right.
But they're also facing some serious competition. We've got proto labs breathing down their necks.
Right. The 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the execution risk. They can have the best plan in the world, but if they can't execute it flawlessly, it's all for nothing.
So what's the verdict? Is ACP Waterjet the real deal, or are they just all hype?
That's the million-dollar question.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's an easy answer. Only time will tell.
Mm.
But one thing's for sure, this is a company to watch. They're either going to crash and burn spectacularly, or they're going to soar to incredible heights.
Either way, it's going to be one heck of a ride. Well, folks, there you have it. A deep dive into ACP Waterjet, a company with big dreams, bold plans, and a whole lot of potential. Will they achieve their 10x vision? Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, their story is a reminder that even in a world of giants, it's still possible to dream big and chase those audacious goals. So go out there and make your own mark on the world. And who knows, maybe we'll be doing a deep dive on your company someday.
No, that's something I'd love to see.
Yeah.